Good morning. This is Oscar Sample reporting to you live from the Brick Arts Media TV studio in downtown Brooklyn. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for joining us here at the reality of what's real. Once again, to reiterate something that I quite often share with you, is an absolutely startling story that I heard a few nights ago upon awakening at 2 a.m. I was watching the news and there was a broadcast about an incident that transpired last Saturday evening in Lourdes County, Montgomery, Alabama. Sheriff Williams, the beautiful man that he was, Mr. John Williams, approached a vehicle and he said to the motorist that he should turn down the volume of his music. The motorist, who was a 20-year-old white male by the name of William Chase Johnson, and Sheriff Williams, an American black man, here they are together in a city that throughout the history of the United States has had a very troubled past. Mr. Johnson, a 20-year-old white male, upon being told that he should turn down the music, proceeded to brandish a firearm and shot and killed Officer Williams. To reinforce the gravity of what it is that transpired, there was also the revelation of the fact that Mr. Johnson's father is also a state trooper and was a colleague and friend of the deceased sheriff, Mr. Williams. It's rather ironic because if anybody would understand the repercussions behind killing a law enforcement officer, and particularly in the state of Alabama, it would be the son of a state trooper. I look at this and I see it as being a tragedy for all parties involved. The young man essentially is what I would characterize as the walking dead. In the state of Alabama, if you kill a law enforcement agent, unequivocally you're looking at the death penalty. Unlike New York State, you are not going to languish in a penitentiary upstate. The state of Alabama will execute you. Mr. Williams, God rest his soul, was a victim of circumstances doing his job, and the very sanctity of his life was intercepted. And for Mr. Johnson's father, I step back for a moment and I can only imagine the shame and the embarrassment that he must feel over what it is that happened. He lost a friend and colleague, and he also lost a son, because regardless of what his stance is as this young man's father, it's out of his hands. It's in the custody of the state of Alabama. And unquestionably, we are looking at the termination of this young man's life. As I have shared with you all on many, many, many occasions, I will state once again the importance of having a sense of meaningful spirituality. And I state that to you because increasingly we are living in a society where the concept and phenomenon of God is something that there has been a very insidious, conscious, and institutional move to abolish. The fact that you don't believe something is real doesn't mean it is not. He is indeed who he says he is. When you take God out of the equation, the sun will go down and it will not return. A 20-year-old young man essentially threw his life into a volcano. What we're finding throughout the society is that increasingly there is this growing chasm of depravity in regards to the appreciation for life of what it is spiritually and organically. Whether you're in Montgomery, Alabama, or whether you're in Brooklyn, New York City, or whether you're in Tucson, Arizona, or whether you're in Seattle, Washington, these dynamics are in effect all over the country. I feel particularly for this generation, this young man being a part of this generation. In some respects, I would call him a second and third generational derivative of crack cocaine and HIV, but I really don't know that to be the case either. I'm going to assume that at face value, the fact that he's the son of a state trooper, that his upbringing was a solid one. Sometimes in life, the pathway that a person takes is not based on what was instilled in them in their childhood. We all have something that is known as free will, and if free will is not utilized with discretion, the results can be utterly catastrophic. We need to reflect. We need to ask ourselves once again, as a nation, where are we going? There is this growing disregard for the authority and respect and professionalism of law enforcement officers across the country. Here we are in New York City, rapidly approaching a new year, and as of the first of the year, there are certain laws that are going to be enacted that in essence are transforming things that would be felonious and worthy of being remanded into the custody of the state and the city, are now simply nothing more than reduced to the status of a desk appearance and you're free to go on your way. Very dangerous and very tenuous. When you're giving people a pair of tickets to an NBA game for showing up in court as they're supposed to, or giving them a $25 gift certificate to Dunkin' Donuts, you're not eradicating the problem, you're exacerbating it. This is something that needs to be terminated. We need to once again sit back, we need to reflect, and we need to very rapidly reconfigure things, because if we don't, the direction that we are heading in is going to prove to be irrevocable and utterly disastrous. I will speak with you shortly. Blessings. Have a great day.